David, talk to me about the significance of what is happening here.
Well, it is significant, Guy, because, of course, you might just think people working in the background in Johnson's staff, it's a little bit wonkish debate in Westminster. But, of course, as was just mentioned, this is a very key, pivotal moment for Johnson's government. We have huge questions have been raised about his handling of the pandemic. England's back into a month-long lockdown, and, of course, we're only days or at most weeks away from having to make a final decision whether to make some big compromises on Brexit to get a deal or to walk away. And so Britain would crash out of the European single market at the end of December without a deal, and all the consequences that would have. So more signs of instability at the core there of Johnson's team is very significant. And it may well have an impact on both the talks in Brussels and also the strategy that the government's going to take to navigate the country through the rest of this winter, where, of course, the pandemic is still raging.
So in the U.S. here, like, President Trump has had 1 million chiefs of staffs. I mean, not 1 million, but we've had a lot. It hasn't caused massive disruption, and we've kind of moved on. Why is this particular one so significant?
Yes, that is a very good point, isn't it? But it's not so common for chiefs of staff there to be this sort of turmoil in Downing Street. But also, this is really important because it's about Dominic Cummings. He's such a huge figure in Johnson's thinking, in his strategy. And, the impression is that he's really more powerful than anyone else in Johnson's cabinet and really does have enormous sway. So any suggestion that he might be about to leave or that his biggest ally has gone, that is what is gaining so much attention here, that it may presage a bigger shift in the entire strategy of the government, rather than it just being another key member of staff.
Would this be welcomed by the Conservative Party?
Well, I've had some messages from Conservative MPs today saying they were delighted, actually, that Mr. Cain has gone. He was not popular amongst the rank-and-file lawmakers in Mr. Johnson's government, nor is Mr. Cummings. They've both been famous for their abrasive style. They do not hold any prisoners. They've been known to sack people's special advisors. Remember, the former Chancellor, Mr. Sunak's predecessor, quit because he was forced to do away with his special advisors on Mr. Cummings' behalf. So, no, they're not popular outside of the cabinet and among the broader Conservative Party. And, yes, they probably would like him to go and, maybe adopt a slightly more centrist approach, particularly after Brexit is finally done with, one way or the other, at the end of next month, to try to actually broaden their appeal back into the country. At least that's what I'm hearing from Conservative MPs today.
So what is the conversation on Brexit, you said, and whether or not it's done with by the end of next month? I mean, I don't believe we're going to really know it. Where are we?
Well, the deadlines keep slipping, don't they? And I've actually given up saying that the next deadline is the real one. I mean, the only deadline that really counts at this point is the 31st of December. At that point, Britain will leave the European single market. What we don't know is on what terms. And, the truth is that those negotiations, whilst they keep setting these deadlines, could run up to almost midnight that night. That's when they have got to finally come out with some sort of compromise on either side. So, I'm afraid we've got to hang on for a little bit longer yet, but we will have an outcome by the end of December.